We looked at the pyramid and said, tenet 1, commit to ethically maximize financial value. Well, that was in alignment to our core values. And one of the things that we have is an impeccable reputation. And that integrity was never a question, and that's how we run our business. And that's how we run it from the top down. And everyone in the business looks at it that way. Now, I can tell you, if you look at Penn State, how much they lost in valuation as a result of this very issue. So it's not just a Global Crossings, it's not just Tyco, it's not just Enron. It can be any organization, and Penn State's a great example of it. So we felt we passed the test on this, and I think we did, and I think we still do. But we care about it, and we for sure bring this point up in every meeting that we have with customers. Tenet 2 is where I want to center my remarks this morning. Fulfilling unmet customer needs in a unique way. We asked the question, well, what exactly are our customer needs? It was pretty obvious that we didn't understand what those needs were. And then we said, who exactly are our customers, really? And what happens if we group our customers by how they think instead of geographical, in sales territories, for example? And this is the point about thinking differently I'd like to make to you this morning. This seems like a small thing. It seems like, what if the customers think differently? What's it like to be a customer of ours? And what we discovered is basically this, that our big corporate customers are always thinking, protect my job. That's in the background of every transaction that we make. It's protect my job. The entrepreneurs that we deal with are always thinking, protect my money. That's the first thing they want. So when we deal with our corporate friends, our corporate customers, we dealt with the corporate customers in such a way as to address this very issue, that the successful outcome of the project would never seriously be in question. That's what they wanted to know. That's what they wanted to feel. That was the emotion that we could create. Now, can you picture this? How hard it is to create emotion between selling cracker lines and the customer. We know that emotion matters, and every decision is made emotionally. So this was an important insight for us. Protect my job, and it worked perfectly. It still works perfectly. The entrepreneur is looking for help. He's a risk taker. Protecting his job isn't even a thought. He has a job. It's his own job. So for him, if I said, look, I'll leave $1 million in this project for a year, and you pay me out of cash flow, and I'll be your partner for that first year, and I'll help you, and you can be assured that you're going to succeed. You will succeed. The entrepreneur looks at that and says, that's great. No one else would be willing to do that for me. I'll take that, and I never lose a job as a result of that with an entrepreneur, and I always get paid because my money's in there. I want to see it be a success. The final thing that analyzing this particular tenet showed us is that some customers are just not right for us. And this takes a lot of courage on your part. But we looked at this. My dad used to say that you could take all of your customers and put them under a bell curve. And you have some at the top of that curve that you couldn't drive away with a gun. They love you. There's nothing, they just like you, and no matter how you trip them up, they still smile, pat you on the back, and say, well, we'll get through this, and let's make it work. Then there's the rest of your customers who are sort of the normal, within the range of a couple standard deviations, and then we have the group at the end. The group at the end are never happy. That's the group that's constantly moaning, constantly upset. You can never do it right for them. And the old man used to say, take those customers and push them to your competitors. And I said, look, you know, I have a New York education. I'm smarter than that. I can figure out how to deal with them. But actually, he was right. And so we reviewed this again and said, that's what we're going to do. And we took one of the largest national customers, whose name I won't mention, but you'd be dying to know, and we pushed him out. And we said, go somewhere else. We're tired of hearing the belly aching. We're tired of the whole corporate culture of belly aching. That was their approach. And we said, and quite frankly, doing a job with them was just an opportunity to lose money. So let's get rid of them. Let's just push them out. And we did it. And the results have started to really pay attention to those who value you, those customers who value what you do, and really service the heck out of those folks. That changed a lot for us. And that's targeting appropriate customer groups. Well, the grain-based business is perfect for us. It's bigger, it's getting bigger. Some people think it might be the new oil. And it's because in the last 5 years, over 1 billion people have moved out of what their governments define as abject poverty into middle class. And the first thing you do as you improve your economic status is you improve your diet. And so people reach for snacks and cookies, crackers, and things like that. It's the first time they have a chance to buy packaged goods. And so in the next 5 years, there's another 1 billion that are projected to make that move. So being in the grain-based business, it seems like a great place to be. So when we look at that tenet, that we are in fact in the right marketplace with a market that's increasing, not staying static, not being static. It's a market that's increasing. So the food machinery business has to be a great business to be in if we execute correctly. This is an old chart from 2007, but it showed how flat the United States and Europe was at the time, and the chart really hasn't changed much, except China and India have swapped positions, a greater potential in India right now. But right now, I'm running jobs in China, in Saudi Arabia. We just finished in Poland. We have another one in India. We just got a job this week in Russia, our second one in Russia. We have a job in Peru and Colombia, for example. So that's where the growth is. That's where people are building buildings for 10 lines. I'll skip that chart. I only wanted to point out that all of these, the tenets give you a framework, and they give me a framework of looking at the business. And as CFOs, you understand how your businesses work. Wouldn't it be great if all of your top management folks understood the business the same way you do? Wouldn't it be great? This system gives you a common lingo. It gives you a way that you can communicate and look at the business together, and you can really help guiding by asking those questions. I was sitting in an engineering meeting the other day, and someone came up with an innovation and an idea, and somebody said, we could do this. And someone else in the room, another engineer, said, well, like, what's the unmet need here? And I was just delighted. I thought, that's great. That's exactly the right question to ask. And it didn't have to be asked by me. It was asked by somebody in the structure. So we review this structure every year. Next week, I'll be in Indianapolis for our annual strategic planning meeting, and we'll go through this step by step. We'll look at all of these things, and it'll help us in our business for sure. I need to skip some slides to catch some time, because I know you have questions, and we want to get to them. I'll just zip through these. You can see productivity has just constantly been increasing. We did all those things that the tenants demand. We looked at our genuine assets, and some of the questions are like, what are your genuine assets? Are they locations? Are they people? Are they patents, like a portfolio of patents that no one else can have? What's missing? This was the list that we generated, all of ours, for our stuff. We even had pages of genuine assets. And then the question as a leader, if you're the CFO or the CEO, what's missing from this list? What other genuine assets do we need to support the tenets that are at the top of the pyramid? And what forces of change are applying to us? There's so much that's happening, and this is what's happening in our business. So you see, by going through a disciplined analysis at least once a year with everybody in the team, we're all speaking from the same playbook, and that's a real help. So everyday decisions get aligned with our strategic plan. What a wonderful thing that is, to have everyone rowing in the same direction. There's a common lingo throughout the organization that everyone understands. The key metrics are reviewed weekly. We create a corporate culture where planning and execution are valued and prized and also rewarded. And that changed the way we thought about it. So all we did was buy a book. So revenues up about 190%. We've had 4 record years out of the last 5. Total sales looking great. Productivity up. Backlog is up. I mean, there aren't a lot of companies that look like this, I know. And there's the pure sales numbers. And there's the EBITDA numbers, which really help from that valuation perspective. So a lot going on, as you can see. But you can see why I'm an enthusiastic supporter of this framework. So thanks a lot this morning. I appreciate your attention.